and the nose and the mouth of a little baby.
Love is supposed to be the most beautiful and fulfilling emotion, but for some, it can quickly turn into an obsession that spirals out of control. Imagine being so consumed by jealousy, anger, or rejection that it drives you to commit a crime so tragic it can never be undone. In today's video, we'll dive into the shocking and often heart-wrenching crimes of passion where love turned deadly. Stories that serve as a chilling reminder of how intense emotions can lead to irreversible consequences. Stay tuned as we explore 6 real cases where love, betrayal, and obsession led to a tragic ending you can't ignore. The Murder of Bonnie Lee Bakley by Robert Blake. Bonnie Lee Bakley was tragically murdered in 2001, and her death became one of Hollywood's most sensational cases of a crime of passion. She was shot in the head while sitting in her car outside a restaurant, and the prime suspect was her husband, actor Robert Blake. The couple's relationship had been rocky from the start, with accusations of infidelity, deceit, and a troubled marriage marked by constant tension. Bonnie, who had a history of relationships with older men, had allegedly been involved in several affairs, which likely fueled Blake's jealousy and distrust. Their marriage was far from typical, with rumors of Blake's controlling behavior and paranoia about his wife's past. Blake was arrested and charged with murder, with authorities believing his jealousy and anger were the driving forces behind the killing. His volatile behavior, combined with the fact that Bonnie had been seeking a divorce from him at the time, suggested that the murder may have been a result of his inability to accept the end of their relationship. However, during the trial, the defense argued that there was insufficient evidence to prove Blake's involvement, and in 2005, he was acquitted of the crime. Despite the lack of a conviction, the case remains a prime example of how obsessive love, fueled by jealousy and distrust, can turn deadly. The tragedy also brought attention to the darker side of celebrity relationships and the potential for violent consequences when emotions become uncontrollable. The killing of Reeva Steenkamp by Oscar Pistorius. The tragic death of Reeva Steenkamp in 2013 shocked the world, particularly because her killer was none other than her boyfriend, South African Olympic athlete Oscar Pistorius. On the night of the incident, Pistorius fired multiple shots through a locked bathroom door, claiming he mistook Reeva for an intruder. However, the evidence presented during the trial painted a different picture. Pistorius's history of anger issues, particularly his explosive temper and history of arguments with Reeva, suggested that jealousy and emotional turmoil may have played a central role in the shooting. The couple had been in a relatively new relationship, but it was marked by tension and escalating conflict, including instances of Pistorius becoming angry when Reeva spoke to other men or when she had the attention of the media. The case sparked global debates about domestic violence and gun control, as well as about the consequences of emotional instability and jealousy in relationships. Pistorius's actions, whether intentional or not, revealed the devastating impact of unchecked anger and how a simple moment of emotional breakdown can spiral into violence. His conviction for culpable homicide, later upgraded to murder upon appeal, highlighted the dangerous potential of obsessive behavior when it is not addressed or controlled. Reeva's death not only ended her life, but also forever changed Pistorius's, demonstrating how love, when corrupted by jealousy and anger, can lead to irreversible, tragic outcomes. The case remains a stark reminder of the fine line between passion and violence. The murder of Chandra Whitehead by her ex-boyfriend. In 2014, Chandra Whitehead, a young woman from Texas, became the victim of an obsessive crime of passion when her ex-boyfriend, unable to cope with their breakup, took her life. Their relationship had been toxic, marked by controlling behavior, jealousy, and increasing emotional abuse. When Chandra tried to move on and end the relationship, her ex-boyfriend's obsessive behavior escalated. He began stalking her, sending threatening messages, and showing up uninvited at her home and workplace. Despite her efforts to distance herself, the ex-boyfriend's fixation on her remained relentless. The situation became increasingly dangerous as his behavior became more erratic, leading to a violent confrontation that resulted in Chandra's murder. This case is a chilling reminder of how an obsessive, unhealthy attachment can quickly spiral into something deadly. Chandra's ex-boyfriend could not accept the end of their relationship and saw her rejection as a personal affront, which ignited a destructive need for control. Tragically, when a person cannot cope with a breakup in a healthy manner, they may resort to extreme measures to reclaim that lost sense of power or possessiveness. The murder of Chandra Whitehead underscores the dangers of obsessive love and emotional instability, showing how these factors can intersect to result in a tragic, irreversible act. Her death highlights the need for intervention and support for victims of stalking and obsessive behaviors before they reach a point of violence. The death of Jennifer and her fiancé in a murder-suicide. The story of Jennifer and her fiancé is a tragic example of a crime of passion where jealousy, emotional instability, and control issues led to a devastating murder-suicide. Jennifer and her fiancé had been together for several years, but their relationship was far from healthy. It was filled with emotional manipulation, jealousy, and growing tension. The fiancé, unable to handle the thought of Jennifer leaving him or moving on, became increasingly possessive and controlling. Despite their troubled relationship, Jennifer had been trying to distance herself, but her fiancé couldn't let go. His obsession with her led to a violent outburst, and in a fit of rage, he shot Jennifer in front of her children before turning the gun on himself. This tragic event highlights how emotional abuse and possessiveness can escalate into violence when one partner feels threatened by the other's desire for independence or a fresh start. The fiancé's inability to cope with rejection and his overwhelming sense of entitlement to Jennifer's love led him to a point where murder seemed like the only way to regain control. The murder-suicide not only ended Jennifer's life, but also devastated her family and left lasting trauma for her children. This case underscores the dangerous potential of controlling behavior and how obsessive attachment, when left unchecked, can lead to irreversible consequences. It serves as a stark reminder of the importance of recognizing the signs of emotional abuse and taking action to prevent such tragic outcomes. The murder of Ha Min Lee by Adnan Syed. The case of Ha Min Lee's murder, which gained widespread attention through the Serial podcast, is a tragic and complex example of a crime that may have stemmed from jealousy and emotional turmoil. In 1999, Ha Min Lee, a high school student in Baltimore, was found strangled in a park. Her ex-boyfriend, Adnan Syed, was arrested and convicted for her murder. Although Syed's conviction was based on circumstantial evidence, much of the trial centered around the intense emotional dynamics of their relationship. Ha and Adnan had broken up shortly before her death, and there were signs of unresolved issues between them, including jealousy and possessiveness. Their breakup seemed to fuel a volatile emotional response from Adnan, leading some to speculate that his feelings of rejection may have played a role in the tragic event. The case is particularly chilling because it shows how unresolved emotions, like jealousy and anger, can have dangerous consequences. Adnan's possible motivations, combined with his emotional instability at the time, painted a picture of a relationship that may have been marked by more than just love. It may have involved a toxic mix of possessiveness and control. While there is still significant debate about whether Syed is truly guilty, the case serves as a reminder that even the most seemingly stable relationships can be fraught with emotions that, when not addressed, can escalate into violence. The tragic end of Ha Min Lee's life highlights how a crime of passion, fueled by jealousy and unresolved emotions, can lead to devastating outcomes, and it underscores the need to understand and address the darker aspects of love and attachment. The murder of Myra Carter by her husband. In 2004, Myra Carter was tragically murdered by her husband, a man who had spent years emotionally abusing and controlling her. Their relationship had always been fraught with tension, but things took a deadly turn when Myra sought to leave him and start a new life. Her husband, unable to cope with the thought of losing her, became increasingly jealous and obsessive. His emotional instability and possessiveness were key factors that led to the violent act. After months of manipulation and threats, he shot Myra in cold blood in their home, and then turned the gun on himself, ending his own life. The murder-suicide left Myra's family devastated and highlighted the tragic consequences of unchecked jealousy and control within intimate relationships. This case is a stark reminder of the dangers of possessive love and emotional abuse. Myra's attempts to break free from the toxic relationship were met with violent resistance from her husband, who couldn't accept rejection or the end of their marriage. His obsession with her was so intense that he felt it was better to take her life than to live without her. The tragedy of Myra Carter's death emphasizes the importance of recognizing and addressing abusive behavior before it escalates into violence. It also underscores the need for people in emotionally abusive relationships to seek help and support, as such toxic dynamics can lead to devastating outcomes. And that wraps up our look into these tragic crimes of passion. It's heartbreaking to see how love, when twisted by obsession, jealousy, and control, can end in devastating loss. These stories remind us of the importance of healthy relationships and the need to address toxic behaviors before they escalate into violence. If you or someone you know is facing emotional abuse or controlling behavior, it's crucial to seek support and help before it's too late. If you found this video insightful, please like, subscribe, and share it with others who might benefit from hearing these stories. Leave a comment with your thoughts or any other cases you'd like to see covered in future videos. Stay safe, take care of each other, and I'll see you next time.